Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Gabby and I'm so honored to be with you as one of the CMC Changemakers this year. I'm a student who just wrapped up my first year at university, and I've also spent the last 6 years or so working on various projects and campaigns related to youth empowerment, education, mental health, and environmental action. I've had the special opportunity to work with over a dozen different youth groups, organizations, and projects all around the world. Together with my fellow youth advocates, we fundraise for issues including refugee education, campaigned in parliament, striked for our climate, launched petitions, and made classroom resources on mental health and climate change. It's been so inspiring to go from school to school and conference to conference and meet so many amazing friends and young people around the world. However, at the same time, I noticed a common frustration about the themes and topics that young people felt were missing from schools and the media. Our world, the reality we face and see every day, as well as the issues we cared about most, such as climate change, justice, and mental health, were not truly being reflected by what we were seeing in the media. The first issue I'd like to cover is mental health. COVID, the lockdowns, school closures, and huge uncertainty has exacerbated youth mental health issues across the world. For instance, according to UNICEF, 27% of young people feel anxiety and 15% feel depressed, while 30% of survey respondents attributed their mental health issues to COVID-related stressors. Globally, 23% of the world's youth experience a mental health condition. In the UK specifically, according to the Mental Health Foundation, around 20% of adolescents may experience a mental health problem in any given year, and 10% of children and young people currently deal with a clinically diagnosable mental problem. Though poor mental health is experienced by so many youth, it is still heavily stigmatized and remains a huge taboo topic across households and communities around the world. Together, we all have a part to play in building a kinder, more inclusive society where no one has to suffer in silence and no one feels shame in speaking up and seeking help. In particular, I think the media has a huge role in helping to break down the stigma and spreading awareness about the importance of mental health. Several surveys have shown that the way mental health is portrayed in mass media contributes significantly to the misconceptions and beliefs that fuel the stigma associated with mental health. For instance, in TV shows, films, and the news, mentally ill people are often dramatized as violent, crazy, unpredictable, or shameful. While coverage on mental health issues has increased in recent years and has been hugely impactful, for example, one survey by Mind found that 25% of youth who had mental health issues felt empowered and encouraged to seek help after watching TV shows involving a character with a mental illness. I think there's so much more that can be done. For example, when creating ads focusing on health such as Eat Them to Defeat Them, we could also take the opportunity to emphasize the importance of both physical and mental health to young people, because mental health is such a inseparable, huge, and crucial part of overall health. Integrating conversations about mental health with children's media content, encouraging young people to speak up, and informing them about issues that they might experience over time is so important and will help foster a culture where mental health is talked about widely and freely. Along the same lines, I'd also love to highlight another issue, which is eco-anxiety. In fact, 70% of youth in the US and UK surveyed feel some form of eco-anxiety, and half of child psychologists surveyed in the UK reported seeing patients who are distressed about environmental and ecological issues beyond a natural concern for our environment. You might be wondering what eco-anxiety is, as it's a relatively new term. The American Psychology Association defined it as the chronic fear of environmental disaster that comes from observing seemingly irrevocable impact of climate change and the associated concern for one's future and that of next generations. Much of it is fueled by the doom and gloom of climate change in the media. Having felt helpless and overwhelmed by the endless news about deadlines, tipping points, extinction, and disaster, I found that focusing on what we can do left me so much more inspired and motivated. Though telling it like it is with the facts and science is no doubt so important, I think that oftentimes too much of the focus is placed on the crisis we're in and not enough on the ways we can get out of it. At university and through my environmental education project Tide Turners, I've been researching climate solutions and effective climate communication strategies. instead of adding to the fear that so many young people feel in the face of climate change. I've also learned that conveying climate topics through storytelling and highlighting climate solutions as well as what we can do together is so helpful in enabling young people to channel feelings of helplessness into agency. I think the media has such a special and important role in translating climate issues, science, and solutions into digestible and empowering content. All in all, I think it is so important that the media is recognizing, talking about, and addressing the issues that are on the top of young people's minds. 2 examples being mental health and the eco-anxiety and despair in the face of climate change. To everyone from the children's media industry watching, firstly, thank you for listening. And lastly, I really look forward to the conversations and change that you will help ignite.